All right, so looking at number 1. So we always want to start by finding our axis of symmetry, because what's our formula for our axis of symmetry?
X equals negative b over 2a.
X equals negative b over 2a. Perfect. So what's our a here? Negative 1. And what's our b? 0. Awesome. So our axis of symmetry would be x equals negative 0 over 2 times negative 1. What happens automatically when 0 is on top? 0. So x is equal to 0 is our axis of symmetry. So what's the first number in our vertex? 0. How do we find the second number? Plug in 0. So I'm going to plug in 0 into x. So I have negative 0 squared. What's negative 0 squared? 0. So my vertex is 0, 0. And then does my graph open up or open down? It opens down. How do we know that it opens down? Because the a is negative. So is my vertex at the maximum or minimum? Maximum. So it is a times x squared plus b times x plus c. So whatever that x all by itself is, the number in front, that's our b. So you just have to see, like, in front of the x squared, that's your a. So negative 1 is our a. We don't have an x all by itself here, so that's why b is 0. That's a good question.
Do we have to write, like, the number of the maximum?
What's the value of our maximum? 0. It's always your y. So the max is 0. All right, number 2.
On the test, can we just draw it like we did, or do we have to write max here?
You'll have to put max as 0.
How do we know if it opens up or down?
You look at the a. If the a is negative, it opens down. If a is positive, then it opens up. All right, for number 2. So our axis of symmetry formula is x is equal to negative b over 2a. What's the a here? 5. Mendoza, what's the b? 0. Perfect. So we have x is equal to negative 0 over 2 times 5. So if 0 is on top, it's automatically 0. So x is equal to 0 is my axis of symmetry. So what does that make the first number in my vertex? 0. How do I find the second number? Plug in 0. So I have 5 times 0 squared. What's 0 squared? 0. And 5 times 0? 0. So my second number in my vertex is 0. So my vertex is 0, 0. Does my graph open up or open down?
Up.
It opens up. How did I know that it opens up? Because a is positive. So is my vertex at the maximum or minimum? It's at the minimum because it's at the lowest point. And what's my minimum value?
What was the question?
What's my minimum value? 0. It's always your y. Any questions here? Alright, so let's start with our axis of symmetry. Our formula is x is equal to negative b over 2a. Maya, what's a here? 2. Eli, what's b? So 4 is c, so we kind of ignore that. What's the number in front of x? If there is no number, it's negative 1. Because there is an x, but there's no number, it's negative 1. If there were no x, then it would be 0. So our axis of symmetry is x is equal to negative 1 over 2 times 2. So this would be, what does the negative 1 turn into? On top. Awesome, 1 over 4. So x is equal to 1 over 4. That's our axis of symmetry. How do I find the vertex? What's the first number in my vertex? What's the first number in my vertex? 1 over 4. How do I find the second number? We have to plug it in. So here we're plugging in a fraction. So I have 2 times 1 over 4 squared minus 1 times 1 over 4 plus 4. What do I have to do first? The exponent. So what's 1 over 4 times 1 over 4? 1 over 16. So this is 2 times 1 over 16 minus 1 over 4 plus 4. What do I have to do next? Multiply. So 2 times 1 over 16. This is 2 over 1. So multiply the tops together, multiply the bottoms. So 2 over 16 minus 1 over 4 plus 4. All right, we could simplify 2 over 16 to 1 over 8 minus 1 over 4 plus 4. Now when subtracting with fractions, what do I need?
Common denominator.
Common denominator. So I'm going to multiply 1 over 4 by what? 2. So I'm going to multiply 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom, and that'll give me 2 over 8. And then I could do the same thing with 4 also. So this is like 4 over 1. So if I want a common denominator of 8, I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by 8. So this will be, what's 4 times 8? 32 over 8.
I think we need fractions on the test.
Yep. So on the top, I'm adding 1 minus 2 plus 32. So what's 1 minus 2? Negative 1. And negative 1 plus 32? 31. So 31 over 8 is my second number in my vertex.
I think it'll be like huge numbers like that though.
There might be.
That's like my one thing I'm not gonna have.
Gotta practice. All right, does my graph open up or open down? Opens up. My A is positive, so it opens up. So is my vertex at the maximum or minimum? The minimum. And what's my minimum value?
1/4, 31 over 8.
So minimum is just the y. So it would just be 31 over 8. Any questions here? All right, let's look at 4. So my formula for axis of symmetry is negative b over 2a. So what's my a? 1. What's b? 0. Perfect, because I don't have an x in my equation. So b is 0. So axis of symmetry would be x is equal to negative 0 over 2 times 1. What's negative 0 over 2 times 1? 0. 0 is on top, your answer is automatically 0. So x is equal to 0 is my axis of symmetry. What is my vertex?
0.
And then how do I find the second number in my vertex? Plug in for x. So I have 0 squared plus 3. What's 0 squared? 0. And 0 plus 3? 3. So the second number in my vertex is 3. Does my graph open up or open down?
Up.
It opens up. So is my vertex at the maximum or minimum? Minimum. And what's my minimum value? 3. Awesome. All right, number 5. Eli, can you turn the volume down? All right, so negative b over 2a. What's my a? 4. What's b? 2. So my axis of symmetry is x is equal to negative 2 over 2 times 4. So negative 2 over 8, and what does this simplify to?
Is that negative 1/4?
Negative 1/4. So x is equal to negative 1 over 4. That's going to be the first number in my vertex. How do I find the second number? Plug it in for x. So I have 4 times negative 1 over 4 squared plus 2 times negative 1 over 4. So what do I have to do first?
Exponents?
Exponents. So negative 1 over 4 times negative 1 over 4. What's 4 times 4? 16. So this would be 4 times 1 over 16. And then what's 2 times negative 1 over 4? We could say 2 over 4. So this would be 4 over 16 minus 2 over 4. Can I simplify 4 over 16? Yeah. What? I could also simplify 2 over 8, right? 1 over 4. So this would be 1 over 4 minus 2 over 4. Are my denominators the same? Yep. So I could just subtract the numerators and keep the denominator the same. So what's 1 minus 2? Negative 1. So my answer would be negative 1 over 4. So then, does this graph open up or open down? It opens up because A is positive. Is my vertex at the maximum or minimum? Minimum. And what's my minimum value? Negative 1 over 4. Perfect. It always is your y. Any questions? All right, number 6. So my formula is negative b over 2a. What's my a? 1. What's b? 0. So x is equal to negative 0 over 2 times 1. So Marina, what's my axis of symmetry? 0. So x is equal to 0. Danielle, what's the first number in my vertex? 0. And how do I find the second number? Plug in 0. So I have 0 squared minus 6. I'm just plugging it in there. So 0 squared is 0. And what's 0 minus 6? Negative 6. So my second number is negative 6. So my vertex is 0, negative 6. Does this graph open up or open down? It opens up because A is positive. So is my vertex at the maximum or minimum? Minimum. And what's my minimum value? Negative 6. Any questions there? All right. Let's look at 7. So negative b over 2a. Stefano, what's a?
2. Negative 4.
A is in front of the x squared.
Negative 1.
Negative 1. Christopher, what's my b? -4. So my axis of symmetry is negative b over 2a. So negative -4 over 2 times -1. So what's negative -4 turn into?
Positive 4.
+4. And then 2 times -1 is -2. How can I simplify 4 over -2? Divide. So it's 4 divided by -2.
2 over -1, which is -2.
-2. So x is equal to -2. So what's the first number in my vertex? -2. How do I find the second number?
Plug in x.
Plug it in for x. So I have -2 squared minus 4 times -2 plus 2. So Kimberly, what do I have to do first? So what's -2 times -2? 2 times 2? 4. So it'd be -4 because the negative just gets dropped down. And then what's -4 times -2? Anybody?
That's
8. So we have -4 plus 8 plus 2. Roy, what's -4 plus 8 plus 2? 6. So my second number is 6. Lewis, does this open up or open down?
Down.
It opens down. So is my vertex at the maximum or minimum? Max. And what is my maximum value?
-2.
The other one.
-4.
The other one.
6.
6. So your maximum or minimum is always your y, the second number in your vertex. Any questions here? All right, number 8. My axis symmetry formula is -b over 2a. Madison, what's my a?
1.
1. Madison, what's my b? -6. So I have x is equal to -6 over 2 times 1. So what does -6 turn into?
+6.
+6. So this is +6 over 2. And what's 6 over 2?
That's 3.
3. So x is equal to 3. So what's the first number in my vertex? 3. How do I find the second number?
Plug in 3 for x.
Plug in 3 for x. So 3 squared minus 6 times 3 plus 4. So what's 3 squared? 9. And what's 6 times 3?
-18.
-18 plus 4. What's 9 minus 18?
Isn't that -5? Oh,
Well, -9 plus 4 would be -5.
yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
So second number of my vertex is -5. Does my graph open up or open down? Opens up because A is positive. And is my vertex at the maximum or minimum? Minimum. And what's my minimum value?
-5.
-5.
So we have to draw the
So what's my vertex here?
2,
Awesome. We just look at the point, and that's your vertex. So 2, 5. What is my axis of symmetry?
x equals 2.
Awesome. X equals 2. And is this a maximum or minimum at my vertex? A minimum. And what's my minimum value? 5. Any questions there? All right, let's look at 11. What's my vertex?
4,
4, 16. What's my axis of symmetry?
x equals 4.
X equals 4. And do I have a maximum or minimum?
Maximum.
I have a maximum. What's my maximum value?
16.
16. All right, last one. What's my vertex? negative 4 comma 2. What's my axis of symmetry? X equals negative 4. And what is my, it's a max. And what's my maximum value? 2. Good job. Any questions?